चालेल सर, करा स्टार्ट.
मला होस्ट करा ना.
कसं असतं सर याचं?
पार्टिसिपेंट्स मध्ये जा,
मोर मध्ये
माझ्या नावावर क्लिक करा.
मेक होस्ट.
हा,
झाले बरं.
सर स्क्रीन दिसतोय माझा? ओके. Okay, so today we'll take one topic which is commonly asked as a long question, that is hernia.
Yes.
So hernia are CCNT point of view. Sir, can you hear me properly?
Yes.
Okay. So today we will see hernia, and importantly I will discuss the hernia only regarding exam point of view. So how it is to be written in our exam. So hernia, there are so many types of hernias like inguinal hernia, femoral hernia, umbilical hernia. Post operative incisional hernia means herniation occurring from the site of incision, means after surgery. So out of them, the commonest hernia is inguinal hernia, which accounts for 73% of all the hernias in the body. Now we will see general features of hernia. They can be any hernia. Why I am calling it a general feature? Because they are applicable. They are applicable to all the hernias. Let it be femoral, let it be inguinal, let it be incision. They are applicable to all the hernias. That's why we are calling it a general features of hernia. So importantly, etiology. What are the causative factors for hernia? First is powerful muscle effort or strain. Because of repeated muscle contraction or repeated muscle efforts, the weaknesses will be created in the wall, and that will cause herniation or protrusion from the peritoneal cavity, contents of the peritoneal cavity, and that may be because of lifting heavy weights or because of increased intra-abdominal pressure, either because of lifting heavy weight or increased intra-abdominal pressure. And in children, another common cause is whooping. Nowadays, whooping cough is not so much common because of vaccination and all, but you can say any infective condition or any allergic condition in which the baby can have chronic cough or repeated cough in the bouts. So child with repeated and violent attacks of coughing. In adults also chronic cough. Now commonest cause of chronic cough nowadays is tuberculosis. So because of tuberculosis or any other infectious condition of respiratory tract, there will be chronic coughing. Another common cause for herniation is straining at defecation. If the patient is having habitual constipation, because of habitual constipation, the person will daily have to strain at the stool. And another is straining at micturition. The commonest cause for straining of micturition repeatedly is benign enlargement of prostate. Any obstructive pathology or any obstruction in the urinary tract, the person will have to repeatedly strain at micturition. And another very important thing is hernia can be a sign of intra-abdominal malignancy, because anything that will cause increased pressure in the abdominal cavity or in the peritoneal cavity will cause herniation. So this hernia can be a sign of intra-abdominal malignancy. So because of malignancy, because of tumor or any space occupying lesion in the abdominal cavity, that will cause increase intra-abdominal pressure. Another cause is increase in the contents of the abdomen. Now, commonest is pregnancy, and another is obesity. So obesity and pregnancy will cause stretching of the abdominal muscle, because too much fat accumulated on the or over the anterior abdominal wall will cause straightening and stretching of the abdominal muscles. And the same thing can occur with the pregnancy because of gravid uterus. All the muscles in the anterior abdominal wall will be stretched, and later on after delivery that lady can suffer from herniation. Now composition, we will not go in detail with that. The hernial sac is composed of sac, neck. Now neck, what is the importance of neck? Neck is important, and the diameter of the neck is very important, because it will decide whether that hernia can get strangulated or not. Now strangulation, what is strangulation? When the contents of the supply of the contents of the hernial sac is lost, that part of the hernia undergoes gangrene, and the condition is called as strangulation or strangulated hernia. Now, lesser the diameter, more are the chances of herniation. So, the diameter is less in femoral hernia as well as in the umbilical hernia, and the hernia which never strangulates, is direct inguinal hernia, and the hernia that is commonly strangulated is femoral hernia because of too narrow neck of the diameter. Then contents, depending on the content, there are some names have been given to the hernias. So if the omentum, what is omentum? Omentum is the peritoneal fold that is attached on the lesser and greater curvature of stomach. So if that greater curvature has got herniated, the condition is called as omentosy. If the intestine, now this is the commonest, if the coil of intestine has been herniated, it is called as enterosy. When not the whole circumference or not whole lumen of the intestine has been herniated, but only some part of the circumference of the intestine is herniated, condition is called as Richter's hernia. Ovary can also be herniated. Meckel's diverticulum, if the hernial sac contains Meckel's diverticulum, condition is called as Litter's hernia. And if you find the blood stained fluid in the hernial sac, you should suspect for strangulation. Now, classification. Now, this is a clinical classification, you can say, depending upon the degree of herniation. So, if the herniated materials can be pushed back into the abdominal cavity, it is called as reducible hernia. If it cannot be reduced back to the normal or into the abdominal cavity, the condition is called as irreducible hernia. So hernial sac will remain as it is. Obstructed, where there is no obstruction to the blood supply. Strangulated, just I told you, strangulated means when the blood supply of the hernial sac or contents of the hernia is lost, condition is called as strangulated hernia. Inflamed, there will be signs of inflammation. And incarcerated means the lumen of the colon, large intestine, lumen of the colon in the hernial sac is blocked along with the fecal material within it. So if the part of the large intestine has been herniated through any abnormal opening in the peritoneal cavity, along with the lumen, some fecal material will also get impacted. The condition is called as incarcerated hernia. Then we'll see in details about the strangulated hernia. It can be asked as a separate question. So strangulated hernia is always a surgical emergency. So if any patient is suspected to have strangulated hernia or diagnosed to have strangulated hernia, we cannot wait. We cannot go for conservative line of treatment. We immediately will have to open the hernial sac and immediately do the surgical intervention. So strangulated hernia where the blood supply is seriously impaired, and because of the obstructive, now these are the steps, all these are the pathological changes. First of all, venous blood will be obstructed because veins are thin walled. So first of all, venous return will be obstructed, and because of obstruction to the venous return, the blood will get accumulated in the hernial sac or in the strangulated coil of intestine, and it will become congested and bright red in color. Because of increased blood pressure within the hernial sac, large amount of fluid will exudate. Large amount of fluid will move into the that is serous fluid will move into the sac, and it will further increase the pressure. Now because of this increasing pressure, now artery will also get obstructed, and once the artery is obstructed, and gangrene, and unrelieved strangulation can cause perforation of the wall of the intestine that will lead to peritonitis. Now these all are the general features of hernia. All these features are applicable to all the hernias. Again I repeat, all these etiological factors like powerful muscle effort, lifting heavy weights, chronic cough, straining identification, straining ambition, you can write all these causes, all these etiological factors in each and every hernia, femoral, inguinal, umbilical, whatever. So all these are the general features of hernia or applicable to all the hernias. Now we'll go to the individual hernias. Individual hernia, first is inguinal hernia, which is very common condition. We have seen 73% of the cases of hernia are of inguinal hernia. Now this inguinal hernia is situated just above the inguinal ligament. It is situated just above the inguinal, that means the boundary between lower abdomen and thigh. So this inguinal hernia, the inguinal canal runs between superficial inguinal ring and deep inguinal ring, and generally the hernial sac comes from the deep inguinal ring. When the hernial sac protrudes from peritoneal cavity through this deep inguinal ring into the inguinal canal, the hernia is called as indirect inguinal hernia. And the posterior surface of the inguinal canal is fascia transversalis. It is the covering of transversus abdominis muscle, that is fascia transversalis. So when there is defect is in the posterior wall of the inguinal canal, the herniated material will come out through the posterior canal wall, and that type of hernia is called a direct inguinal hernia. And indirect inguinal hernia comes through the deep inguinal ring, runs along the length of inguinal canal and moves towards the superficial inguinal ring, which is situated just above the pubic tubercle. Now contents of inguinal, this is normal anatomy. The contents of inguinal canal in males are spermatic cord, ilioinguinal nerve, and genital branch of genital. And in females, spermatic cord is replaced by round ligament of the ovary, ilioinguinal nerve, and genital branch of genital femoral nerve. These are common to both male and female. And in one more thing, if the hernia is indirect, all the contents of the hernia, that is intestine and all whatever have been herniated, they all will run in front of these contents or spermatic cord. And if it is a direct inguinal hernia, that is the defect is in the fascia transversalis, that is in the posterior wall of the inguinal canal, all the cord. Okay, boundary, this anatomical thing. Hernia, just I told you, hernia travels down the canal outside of the spermatic cord, and it is commonest of all the hernias. Now three types depending upon its extension. If the herniation is limited only up to the superficial inguinal ring, means from deep inguinal ring the herniation has occurred, and the hernia has run all along the length of inguinal canal but not protruding out of the superficial inguinal ring, that is herniation is limited only in the inguinal canal, condition is called as bubonosin. If the herniation protrudes to the superficial inguinal ring up to the upper pole of the testis, condition is called as funicular. And if the herniation extends into the scrotum, if the herniated coil extends into the scrotum, the condition is called as complete inguinal hernia. Now, inguinal hernia is very common in males. It is 20 times more common in males as compared to female. So there will be pain in groin. The pain is referred to the testes while doing the heavy work. Bulging on coughing. Khokla kela ki, the herniation sac and in standing position, the hernia protrudes when the patient is lying down or not coughing. So when the patient is in resting stage, the hernia will go back to the normal position and that swelling or bulging will disappear. And as the time passes, म्हणजे बऱ्याच वेळा असं होतं स्वेलिंग दिसते पण त्याच्यामध्ये बऱ्याच वेळा पेन नसते, पेशंटला काही कंप्लेंट नसतं. सो ऍज द टाइम पासेस पेशंटही थोडं दुर्लक्ष करतो त्याच्याकडे आणि मग काही दिवसांनी काही महिन्यांनी हर्निया कम्स डाऊन इव्हन वेन स्टँडिंग. नुसता उभा राहिला खोकला नाही केलं तरी पण काही हेवी वेट नाही उचललं तरी पण हर्निएशन ऑकर्स. सो हर्निया कम्स डाऊन इव्हन ऑन स्टँडिंग. And in case of infants, this inguinal hernia is also seen in case of infants. The swelling occurs when the child cries. Indirect inguinal differential diagnosis will be now the simple thing clinically you will see the swelling in the inguinal region. So swelling in the inguinal, all the swelling in the inguinal region are not because of indirect inguinal hernia. They can be because of other conditions like it can be femoral hernia. Now there are some differences clinically. Swelling of the inguinal hernia is above and slightly medial, above the inguinal ligament and slightly medial, and in case of femoral hernia it is slightly lateral and below the inguinal ligament. Then incompletely descended testis in case of infants, particularly in case of infant, if there is a palpable swelling in the inguinal region, it can be because of incompletely descended testes which have been trapped in the inguinal canal. Vaginal hydrocele, encysted hydrocele of the cord. There can now spermatic cord is present in the inguinal canal, so there can be some cyst formation in the inguinal canal, or spermatocele, large amount of sperms or dead sperms have been collected in the spermatic cord in the region of inguinal canal. They create that thing will create the swelling, a palpable swelling, which can be misdiagnosed as inguinal hernia. These are some of the differential diagnosis. Now treatment is only surgery is the only treatment, dissecting out and opening the hernial sac. And another commonly done surgery is herniotomy and repair. The condition is called as, or the surgery is called as herniorrhaphy, where the hernial sac is excised, it is opened. Repair of the stretched internal inguinal ring and transverse fascia is to be repaired, and reinforcement, which is जाळी meshes वगैरे टाकून ते बंद करतात. Direct inguinal hernia मध्ये काय होतं, the defect is in the posterior canal wall, that is the posterior wall of the canal is fascia transversalis. So there is a small defect, in the weakness or defect in the posterior canal wall, that is the fascia transversalis, and it is commonly seen in the person who is having poor lower abdominal musculature. Another now all these are the common features of all the hernias: chronic curve, straining, heavy work, lifting weights, straining at micturition, straining at defecation and all. And another common cause of this right-sided, particularly right-sided direct inguinal hernia is damage to ilioinguinal nerve that can occur during appendectomy. Appendix operation करताना चुकून right ilioinguinal nerve ला जर damage झाला, so all those muscles will get paralyzed. That fascia transversalis will also get paralyzed, and the herniation will occur. It is rarely large or into the scrotum. We have seen that bubonosin, funicular, and complete. So rarely it goes into the scrotum. And sac always lies behind the spermatic cord because the defect is in the posterior canal wall. And the neck of the sac is very wide. म्हणजे तो fascia transversalis मधला जो defect असतो तो खूप मोठा असतो, ते opening खूप मोठा असतं, त्यामुळे herniaची neck मोठी असते. That's why it will strangulate rarely. Now this is important, can be asked as a 2-mark question. What is dual sac or saddlebag? These are the synonyms: dual sac, saddlebag, or pantaloon hernia. म्हणजे posterior canal wall मध्ये fascia transversalis मध्ये एकाच वेळेस 2 डिफेक्ट असतात. एकाच बाजूला राईट साईडला 2 डिफेक्ट असतात आणि त्या 2 डिफेक्ट मधून 2 हर्नियल सॅक एकाच वेळेस 2 हर्नियल सॅक येतात. द कंडिशन इज कॉल्ड एज ड्युअल सॅक ऑर पेंटॅलम हर्निया. Funicular, okay, that's not so important. And treatment part again surgery. Another hernia is femoral hernia. Femoral hernia occurs in the femoral canal. Its neck is very narrow. Neck of the femoral hernia is very narrow, and that the femoral ring is surrounded by so many strong muscles in the thigh. That's why the chances of strangulation are very high. This is not so asked commonly. The commonly asked hernia is inguinal hernia. So I think this is enough for today. We'll see some other topic in the next lecture. Sir, is it okay?
Yes, sir. It's very nice.
म्हणजे मी फक्त असे एक्झाम साठी लागणारे पॉइंट कव्हर केलेत. इटिओलॉजी, स्ट्रँग्युलेशन एक